Welcome to Channel 18 News. I'm Jim Rogers. Ray M. Keck III was chosen as the sole finalist for the position of president of Texas A&M University Commerce Tuesday during a telephonic meeting with the Texas A&M University System Board of Regents. Keck assumed the role of interim president on June 1st, 2016, now the sole finalist for president. Here's Don Julian with sports.
Despite the heat, the Wildcats marching band earned the top score possible at UIL competition in Mount Pleasant Tuesday afternoon, and I talked with band director Charles McCauley.
I just can't believe I'm standing here and it's already over. It's just, time flies. We did have our UIL contest yesterday in Mount Pleasant. Maybe the hottest, the only other hotter UL contest I can remember is one time I was equipment, and I think it was 91 degrees on November 1st, no less, at Longview. But I think when we hit the field yesterday at 4:30, it was 92 degrees. It was hot. And the kids did, to their credit, turned in the best performance that they had done. It's taken us a while to get this one together. You just never know, season to season. It's the drill, and if we're getting everything learned, and it just has taken, particularly the ending of the show, has taken a while to get it together. The kids performed the best they had done, particularly musically. Still having some issues with marching, but we earned a first division. So we were. Quite a few bands yesterday did not. It wasn't harder than it should have been in contest, but it was difficult, and that's fine. First division should mean something, and there were quite a few bands who were on the fence, and there were some 5A bands that didn't make it yesterday, and earlier in the day there were some 3s and 4s, and it was pretty tough. So, and then there was the 4As, a lot of first divisions there. But as far as we're concerned, it was our best performance. I think the heat affected some of the bands. You put that uniform on, that's a heavy uniform. They're not wool like the old days, but they are heavy material, and what we did is we did not put our coats on until after we warmed up, and right before we prayed, we put our coats on. And so we had them. That's an hour that we didn't have them on. Whereas normally you get there, you step off the bus, you're in full uniform, you wait about 15 minutes, then you go to warm up, and that's another 30 minutes, another 15 to the stadium. So that's about an hour where you're in uniform, and we were not in uniform. And so I think that helped us. I also think that our practice time, we are outside every day at this time. It hasn't been below 90 many days. I think we've had 2 days or 3 days where it's not been under 90. And so for us, the only thing that was added was the uniform during the performance. So I think for those bands who practice in the morning, I think that it affected them because their director said the kids just kind of wilted. There was no energy. It just kind of was just not energetic, and that affects your tuning and affects your music particularly. The crispness of the marching wasn't there for those bands, and so I think it affected them. So I think I told the kids, all the sweating and all the being out in the heat during the season, I think paid off for us yesterday.
Do you get the critiques again? I would imagine most of them are very, very good.
They are.
The first division.
Yes, they are. There's some things we got to work on still. We're always a work in progress, and we're going to have another contest on Saturday. We'll be at Prairie Land, and there aren't very many bands there, but the bands that are there are all good. So there'll be some really quality bands there. There aren't a whole bunch there, but it'll be stiff competition, but that's fine. I mean, we've gotten our first division at UIL. That's the first leg of sweepstakes. That's important to keep the morale for the rest of the year, as far as keeping kids focused, and that's good. And we'll look at these tapes and listen to these tapes that we heard or that we got yesterday, and we'll learn from those, and we'll get better today. We'll go back to work today and tomorrow.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this an area?
It's not.
It is not.
It's not.
So we get a chance to one more time editorialize on why this is not fair.
It's not fair. It's the only thing in school that doesn't get to advance every year. Nothing. Imagine a basketball team or a football team or UL academic, spelling or ag, anything else in school that doesn't get to advance. When I was at my last year at Quitman, was the best band that we had in my 7 years there, and they didn't get to advance. We were alternate the year before. So when that senior class were juniors, we were alternate going to state by 1 point. They always picked the two people. Well, at that time, they only picked two to go on, and then the alternate. But the alternate, I mean, kind of Miss America. The crown's never given up. So we were the alternate by a point, and we all knew that that's it. And the next year, sure enough, the band was better because that's when the strongest. So I thought surely by now somebody's father over in the Metroplex, somebody in the wealthy areas would have already sued, but they haven't. And so we go every other year, and it's just you wish you could go every year, but I don't know. I thought it's been going this way now for 25 years, so it'll never change.
Now, this was driven, I believe, by large bands for some reason. Was it cost to travel?
It was driven by large 5A superintendents who now would be 6A superintendents, who were the same bands typically were going every year, your Duncanvilles and your some other bands, the Metroplex in the Houston area, and they got together and said, it's costing us too much money because those bands, you're having to take 8 or 9 buses, and you got a hotel, and it's an expensive trip. Band's expensive. I mean, it is. And they decided that the way they would do that is we go every other year. So, the same year they did that, they also decided, well, that's too expensive, but we're going to add a playoff team. So go figure. So then they added another one. So, too expensive, I don't know.
And the 5A band directors need to petition the UIL.
Well, it's a funny argument because in many states the arts were being cut. This is the early 90s, and there are a lot of funding issues with schools. And the band lobby decided, and there is a very strong music lobby actually in Austin, they decided, we better not push this too much, because if we make it, some people see marching band as extracurricular. Well, I can tell you from teaching it for 29 years, it's curricular. Now, it's not a math class or science class, but it's not just, hey, let's meet up after school and have a band and do that. It's a co-curricular course.
You're churning out music majors every
year. Absolutely. And so I think they decided that in order to keep it not being looked at just as extra in the schools, they would push toward having it being included more in the core of schools. And so they decided to do that instead of fighting for it every year. They've talked about it. It gets proposed every year down at state, the meetings. They propose we do it back every year. But a lot of bands in the Metroplex actually are starting to bypass UIL and are going to this thing called Bands of America, which is a national contest. So they have a national event actually in Indianapolis every year, and it's a different style contest. It's more the pageantry. It's why props have come back all of a sudden. Props were big in the 80s. They went away in the 90s because we were trying to be, I guess, more austere during that point. And then now they're back because that's what at these contests is what they're really judged on. There's a huge general effects score, GE score, kind of like a drum corps. So some of those bands are, they go to their region UIL. They're not fooling with state UIL. They're going to Bands of America. So it's a battle right now, particularly in the Metroplex schools. That's why I don't teach the Metroplex. I don't want to be involved in that. I want to try to teach kids music and life lessons through that, and they can have that, that's fine. But what's good for them is, that's great. But I think the way we do it is the right way for our kids. So I do want to say I'm very appreciative of our administration, Mr. Lamb and Mr. Driver, Mr. Carter, Mr. McMeans, who were there yesterday supporting the kids, and we had a lot of parents there, so really appreciative of that. And we acknowledge them and all the support they give us. The program would not be the program it is without them. So thanks to them and to all of our directors. I'm the person that's on TV all the time. It is a 6-person show as far as directors go. Mr. McDaniel, Mr. Proctor, Miss Turner, Mr. Garza, Mr. Smith, and then of course Miss Welch here in the band hall. It's a team effort, and the program would not be successful without all of those people.
With the Pine Tree volleyball team playing perhaps their best game of the year, the Lady Pirates upset the Lady Cats in Wildcats Gym 3-1 Tuesday night. And I talked with Lady Cats volleyball coach Justin Manis.
After thinking about it, I guess after the loss, the biggest thing for us is I think Pine Tree came out really focused. Pine Tree came out with a purpose, and just with everything going on, and we just didn't come out and get any traction. We didn't have any rhythm early, and with a team like Pine Tree, giving them any type of rhythm with the offense that they run, it just kind of hurt us. We kind of fought back into it, but we could never put strings of really good plays together. We had them here and there, and Pine Tree just had more than us. That's probably, I think the coach said that's one of the best matches they played all year. That's probably the type of match they brought to Hallsville, would be my guess. And just one of those nights you're going to have them, and the girls were upset about losing, but they understood we didn't play our best, and that's just the way it goes sometimes.
But still, in sets 1 and 4, they were 27 to 25.
Oh yeah, you know what? And that's the same way as it was at Pine Tree. I think our first one over there, it went 33-31, and they beat us. So I think it's just going to be historically just good matches between us and Pine Tree. And volleyball is a lot about matchups. Just because you have Hallsville who's dominating everybody, we might match up to Hallsville better than we match up to Pine Tree just based upon the offense that they run. But the girls had a good attitude about it. They know we need to bounce back, and we have a couple more. And there are a couple opponents that we're going to have to show up and play. That's everybody. But if we do what we need to, we should be able to take care of business and finish out district strong. We're still sitting second. Wish we had a little bit of cushion there. We just need to make sure we take care of business and finish out the way we need to.
The way I see it, you keep your eye on the ball, and you've got a 1-game lead in a loss column against Pine Tree, and I guess Texas High too. And you went out, and there's nothing they can do.
No, that's
in second place.
Yeah. We have to just take care of what we need to do, and of course we have Mount Pleasant and Marshall. They are at the bottom of the district standings, but we need to go in and play them like they're Hallsville or Pine Tree and take care of them. We will be playing at the junior high on Friday because of the fall festival, so we plan on getting in the gym over there and getting acclimated to it because we haven't played in there this year. It's best if someone comes to play us that it feels like our home gym, so we don't want to feel like we're playing at a neutral site. So. But the girls have a goal in mind, and they knew. When I talked with them in the huddle, they knew they didn't have their best game. Yeah. And I knew that too. And you're going to have those, and so we're going to see what we're made of by bouncing back and finishing out the rest of the district.
Yeah, it had kind of a playoff atmosphere. It really had that feel to it.
It did, and it was a very intense match. I mean, and it came down to the wire. There was a questionable call at the end on a hit, but you can't put that on one call. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can string together that the loss. Now we get into set 5, it could have gone either way. Yeah. But Pine Tree, like I even told the coach, they came ready to play us, and we need to have the mindset the district isn't over. We have to finish strong, and I think they realize, okay, we know what coach is talking about now. We got to take care of business and not mess around. So we'll get back in the gym and work hard on getting them refocused.
Yeah, Pine Tree kind of an unusual case. I mean, they can make their case that they beat Hallsville and they beat us, but they've got two, must be terrible losses, maybe to Texas High. I'm not
Yes,
sure.
they've lost both of them they lost one to us, one to Hallsville, and two to Texas High. Yeah. And it's just crazy. That just shows you matchups. I mean, we beat Texas High twice, and to me, Pine Tree is a solid team.
Sure
I mean, Pine Tree brought, like I said, just as much as Hallsville brought to the table, if not more. And she had 8 seniors going out, so that's definitely going to be a rebuilding year for her. And the girls are getting to see that type of play. And as off season comes around, and I can teach them a lot more. Things are going to get a lot better.
Yeah, you are going to lose 2 seniors. You had senior night. That was a big night for those. You'll miss them terribly.
Oh my goodness, yes, both, and just not as players, but just people. Yeah. I mean, the kids are coachable. I wish I could have had Sharita for more years. I mean, she only played 1 year for me. I couldn't imagine having that kid for 4 years and just seeing what she is now. And then of Tori, she's taken on a lot that I've thrown at her as far as doing things setting-wise, speeding up her sets, running a faster offense. That means she has to be faster to the ball. Mm-hmm. And so, but she's taking it on like a champ. And, like I said, they're really good kids.
She gets so many assists, Tori does. Mm-hmm. I wonder how much better can you play that position? Are colleges interested in her at all? Or
you know what? We really haven't gotten that far. As we get into the offseason, a lot of colleges are playing now. So once their seasons are slowing down, there may be calls for several of them. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'd like to create here. I'd like to create volleyball as a tool for these kids to go on and play college ball. And we have several that have the capability of doing so.
Absolutely. The Wildcats team tennis squad ended their season with a road win at Pine Tree. It was anything but easy, as we hear from Wildcats tennis coach Tony Martinez.
It was a tough match. We won 11-8, and it could have been a lot closer than that if some of the boys had not picked up some of their match, because still weak on the girls' side, so we were kind of losing every match on that side. And what happened was I lost my number 1 boys singles and my number 1 girls singles due to illness yesterday, so I was missing 2 top players. And then I had another girl who was with Band UIL, another varsity girl out too. So I was missing 3 to 4 key kids that should have been there. But we were able to pull it out. Our freshman girls did a great job that I have been playing with, throughout the semester. And then our boys picked it up. I had to put Tyler Stout in there to play singles, and he has not played singles probably in the last 2 years. He's been playing, he's our doubles or mixed doubles, specialist, but he stepped it up yesterday, and he gave us that win, gave us the 10th match to win there. And then the 11th match was won by the freshman Jonah Kirkpatrick. Mm-hmm. So it was a tough match all the way through. It wasn't, I got there and it was still going to be a struggle. I knew we would be struggling, but the kids, were able to prevail and, to come out with a win.
It leaves a good taste in your mouth, as you get ready for spring.
It did for a lot of the seniors. For them, they're already talking about, hey, our schedule for next year. They're excited. We're talking about conditioning, here in the next month or two, that there'll be 2 days of conditioning, each week until Christmas time, holidays. We're going to keep that turkey Thanksgiving off them throughout the month of December. But no, they're very, we ended on a high note, and that's what we were really looking for, and especially, to get by with missing the key people, we were still able to, fight through some, a little toughness, the little bumps in the roads that you would say, but we were able to get through with it.
All right. You've got a lot going on, always a lot happening in your world, and I believe your Can Help tournament is still happening.
It's still happening November 5th. The kids are still getting ready for that, and we had a good turnout and have our middle school involved, and we have a few more of the high schools here in the surrounding area, Greenville, Mount Pleasant, some from John Tyler, hopefully some from the Paris area. So that will be on November 5th on a Saturday. And it's a gently used or a new jacket, baby sizes, definitely baby sizes, up to elderly sizes type deal. They'll take them all. And then, so that's our plans for the rest of this year. I'll have a polar bear tournament for the kids, probably not until January. So that, we're going to just stretch it out a little bit to get ready for the spring season.
On the Can Help thing, is the coat, is that the entry fee, or do they,
Yes, I'm glad you said that.
accept cash if somebody wanted to help?
Yeah,
out
we do
too?
accept donations to Can Help. We've been doing really well. I think we have achieved last year, I think it was like nearly $3,000. And then we collected a little about 150 to 175 jackets and blankets last year. So we're really happy with that turnout. But yeah, that's the entry that for that tournament, but we will accept any type of donation too.
Anything else you got going on? You got some special classes planned?
I'll be working with women's programs probably here in the next week. Go through the November and half of December, and then pick it up in January. Every Monday night, 6:30 to 7:30 or so. They're free classes for the ladies in the Sulphur Springs area and the surrounding areas.
Oh, very good. Always something going on with you, Tony.
Trying to keep busy.
All right, very good. Congratulations on the win.
All right, thank you.
Tuesday night was the first night of the Hopkins County Fall Festival Cover Girl Contest. As we conclude News Notebook this evening, here's the events and the participants during the evening.